Hi, and welcome back to Self-Care While Grieving course. I'm Kelly Daugherty. And in this module, we're going to go over mindfulness. So you may have heard of it before. It's a pretty hot topic out and about, but you're not really sure what it means and you don't really know how to practice it. Or maybe you're an expert in mindfulness and this is going to be a review. Awesome. But we're going to talk a little bit about mindfulness and how it relates to grief and why it is so important to incorporate as a possible tool that can be very beneficial. We're also going to go through a nice mindful breathing exercise and then also a body scan meditation as well. So you're going to have a couple of different opportunities to practice using mindfulness. But mindfulness is a state of awareness. It means paying deliberate attention to what you're doing at the present moment, what's happening right now, and not judging it, just being aware of what's happening in the moment. It means being fully present in the here and now, not being distracted by the thoughts of the past or the future, observing your thoughts, your feelings, your body sensations, and the environment with an open and accepting attitude. It is present moment awareness. It means that you're in the present moment, thinking about what's happening right now. When we live in the past, we tend to live with sadness or regret or this longing to recreate it. And then when we live in the future, we tend to live with a lot of anxiety. Well, what if this happens? What if this happens, right? 85% of what we worry about never actually comes true. So we spend a lot of time worried about things that may or may not happen. And one of my favorite quotes by Alan Watts is no amount of anxiety makes any difference to anything that's going to happen. Our anxiety isn't going to change an outcome, but that's besides the point. So back to mindfulness. It is about being non-judgmental. It is about not thinking of your thoughts as good or bad. Instead, it encourages compassionate, accepting attitude towards your experiences. It may be about a focus of attention, focusing on your breath or your body or nature or what you're eating, mindful eating. It also means accepting what's happening in the present moment. You may not like it. I get it, especially when we're grieving. We're going to be like, well, I don't want to accept this. You're right. I get it. I understand. Accepting the reality of the loss is really hard and difficult, and it's not a one-time thing. But through regular mindfulness, we can cultivate some acceptance and accepting as the grief bursts come up in the moment and accepting them that this is a normal part of the grief process, feeling that sadness, that guilt, that anger, even if it's uncomfortable and challenging, just accepting it as it arises in our body and in our mind. So there's lots of different ways to practice mindfulness. Meditation is one of those. Mindful eating, eating nice and slowly, deliberately, chewing your food, tasting it. How many times do you eat a bag of chips in front of the TV and you're like, oh my gosh, the bag is gone. I don't even remember eating them because you were mindless, right? And so mindful eating is eating slower, more methodical, slowing down. Actually, when we slow down our eating, we tend to eat less and we get less stomach aches. And so this is a practice that you can do. You may not be able to eat all of your meals very mindfully, but maybe just a few bites every meal. Mindful walking, being out in nature, feeling your feet hit the pavement, looking around at the colors, hearing the birds, noticing the different trees, paying attention to what's happening outside and around you, being fully present in the activities that you're doing. Mindfulness has so many great benefits. Mental, physical health benefits, reduced stress, improved emotional well-being, increased focus and concentration, and enhanced quality of life. So why is it important with grief? It can help regulate your emotions. Grief is a roller coaster of emotions, right? Sadness, anger, guilt. Mindfulness will allow you to observe these emotions without judgment, and it will also help you learn to regulate them more effectively and efficiently. It provides a space to acknowledge the emotions as they arise, reducing the intensity of the emotional upheaval because we don't want to feel them, right? Oh, I don't want to feel this. I want to do something else. I don't want to feel this. Just acknowledge it. Be aware of it. Don't judge it. It also gets us to stay in the present moment rather than dwelling on the past. What if I could have done this? I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have been doing this. It can bring us back to the present moment. It can reduce stress. Grief is stressful. It's hard. And so by doing some tools like mindful breathing and meditation, that can activate that relaxation response and help you feel reduce stress. It can improve your coping. It's a really great coping skill. It teaches you to respond to challenging situations in a way with greater resilience and acceptance and awareness. It also provides an attitude of acceptance and non-judgment, right? We don't need to beat ourselves up or have unrealistic expectations for ourselves when we're grieving. So when we can practice mindfulness, we can be more self-compassionate with ourselves, like we talked about in the last module. It can also give us a way to connect with other people. If we're being mindful and in the present moment, especially when we're in groups or talking to somebody, we're really listening and being present with them. That can improve our relationships. We can also, by mindfulness, we can also find greater meaning in our grief. It can lead to insights, personal growth, and the ability to maybe find meaning from loss. Meaning making in grief comes down to three things. Sense making, trying to make sense of why this happened. Easier said than done, I get it. Benefit finding, what are the benefits that have come out of this? Well, I made this new friend in my grief group, or this person showed up that I never expected to be there for me, or, oh, actually, I'm going to go back and go to school and become a social worker. I'm going to help people, right? And then identity reconstruction. Who am I now without this person or without this loss? And so finding meaning is something that's really important, and mindfulness can help with that. So that's really some of the reasons that mindfulness is so important with grief. And so now we're going to go into a guided breathing exercise. And so just go ahead and get yourself comfortable. You can, again, close your eyes gently, or you can simply soften your gaze, whichever feels most comfortable to you. Just settle into your space, feeling the support beneath you, maybe in the chair or the bed or the floor. Feeling the ground beneath your feet if you're sitting. Just allowing your body to relax. Relax that jaw, let that jaw drop right down. Maybe you're noticing some tension or tightness in your body. Just be aware. You don't need to judge it. Just be aware. And bring your attention to your breath. Take a nice deep and gentle breath in through your nose, feeling the air fill up your lungs. And as you exhale, release any tension or worries you might be holding on to. Breathe in slowly and deeply through your nose, counting to 4 as you inhale. Feel your chest and abdomen gently rise. And at the top of your inhalation, I want you to just pause for a moment. Hold your breath for about a moment to the count of 2. And then nice and slowly exhale through your mouth or nose, counting to 6. Feeling the release of any tension or discomfort as you breathe out. And at the bottom of your exhale, just pause briefly, counting to 2. So in for 4, hold for 2, out for 6, hold for 2. So I'll go ahead and lead you through a couple of rounds of that. So nice deep breath in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. 1, 2. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. 1, 2. One last time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. and pause. 1, 2. So if you continue breathing like that, and you probably do about maybe 6 of those, 5 or 6 of those in about a minute, you are really going to be in a good spot, because after 6 good deep breaths in 1 minute, it can reset your nervous system. And when our nervous system is really heightened because we're grieving, resetting it can bring us back to feelings of safe and calmness and groundedness and calm. Really, that's what we want, is that calm feeling, right? We want to reset the nervous system so the parasympathetic nervous system can kick on and calm us down. So 6 deep breaths in a minute actually does do that. You can also, focus on the physical sensation of the breath entering your nose. As you exhale, feeling it come out through your mouth, feeling your chest rise, really staying focused on the physical sensations of your breath. That is mindfulness. It can be a really great tool to help ground yourself in the present moment, especially when grief feels really overwhelming and difficult. And other ways with practicing mindfulness is as simply as noticing what's happening around you. One of my favorite things is to name 5 things that you see. Okay, I see my computer, I see my microphone, I see my earbuds, I see my phone, I see my chapstick. 5 things that you hear. I hear the computer fan, I hear the rain outside, I can hear myself talking, I hear the car down the street, I hear the wind. Okay. And 5 things I feel. I feel my wrist on my watch. I feel my hair on my face. I feel my leg on my other leg. I feel my sock on my foot. I feel my shirt on my body. Again, bringing yourself back into the present moment. So that's a really great, easy grounding tool that you can do to bring yourself back to the present moment, thinking about what's happening right now. And most times when we ask ourselves the question, what's wrong right now? Not sometimes there's nothing wrong right now. We're usually in our head somewhere else, and that's what's causing us to say that there's something wrong right then. And sometimes, obviously, with grief, if we're in the middle of a grief burst and feeling overwhelmed with grief, yes, right now may suck, and I get that. But most times when we ask ourselves, what's wrong right now? The answer is nothing. And so that's a good way to bring yourself back to this present moment.